Old Man Winter unleashed his fury on DuBois and surrounding counties today. More on today's weather and a second storm that's on its way. Plus, folks using the library will now face stiffer penalties for ignoring notices on overdue materials. And Michael Cummings with DuBois Strong is tonight's guest on Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. We begin tonight with Old Man Winter making his presence felt in DuBois County and beyond throughout the day today and into our early evening hours. The much anticipated storm dropped a round of sleet and freezing rain overnight last night, with the precipitation changing over to sleet and snow and then to all snow as the day went on. The storm caused all school districts in DuBois, Davies, Martin, Pike, and Spencer counties to cancel their classes today. Additionally, Indiana Furniture employees were on a 2-hour delay this morning, and several events, such as the Lagodi Christmas Stroll and the Huntingburg Christmas Parade, were postponed and or rescheduled. All government offices in DuBois County were also closed today due to the storm. With all of the precipitation that fell today, road crews were hard at work trying to get the roads ready for travel. Jasper Street Commissioner Ramey Eckerly says the sleet began to accumulate on the streets just before 2 o'clock this morning, and all plow trucks were out at work by 3 a.m. and have been salting intersections as part of their work. Eckerly says the work of the plow crews is instrumental in keeping the roads clear.
I can't say enough about these guys who work the plows. We work the regular day, all day long, taking care of our regular duties of trash and recycling and all that. And then we fit in this extra duties of the snowplow, which is our job, and they all know it, and they sign up for to do it, but they're all in. They do a great job, and kudos to them. Without them, we'd be in trouble.
Eckerly says his crews are hoping to get treated salt down this evening to keep roadways from refreezing, and they are hoping for sunshine during the day tomorrow to melt snow and ice off of the roadways. Meanwhile, DuBois County Highway Superintendent Steve Berg says his crews have also been hard at work since early this morning. He says his crews stocked up on needed snow fighting supplies not only for today's storm, but for ones coming in the near future.
Well, we'll just stay at it as long as we can. Just keep the plows going and the material going down. So I got other trucks getting some material in here. Make sure we got enough for the weekend. I think it's supposed to be bad again on Sunday. So make sure we're in good shape there.
From a state standpoint, more than 600 salt trucks were sent out onto the roadways last night and early this morning by the Indiana Department of Transportation to treat roadways. INDOT spokeswoman Cher Elliott says the trucks will work as long as needed to get the roads back into good condition.
We still are trying to make sure all of that ice is melted underneath the snow that's there currently. So we'll continue to be pushing snow and throwing salt until we get through both of these winter weather events.
Now, a winter storm warning remains in effect until 1 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow morning for DuBois, Crawford, Orange, and Perry counties locally. The Weather Service was calling for 8 inches of new snowfall accumulation throughout the day today, though they said the snow was likely to end prior to news time this evening. Additionally, both Jasper and Huntingburg closed up their city offices early today. All non-emergency departments in Jasper were closed effective at noon today. Those departments included City Hall, Municipal Utilities Office, the Parks Department, the Arnold Habig Community Center, and the Arts Department. Arts officials are set to make a separate announcement about their weekend schedule soon. Meanwhile, the city of Huntingburg declared a snow emergency earlier today. City officials cited the accumulation of snow and ice on the streets that made the streets difficult to drive on. As a result of the emergency, numerous city streets designated as snow routes were immediately restricted. City Hall, the utility office, and transit system were closed down at 1 o'clock this afternoon. City officials are urging residents to stay home and off of the streets so that the street department can clean and treat the streets as necessary. As I mentioned, a second storm is expected to hit our area on Sunday, according to the National Weather Service. That storm will likely bring another round of freezing rain, sleet, and snow with it. We'll have more on that coming up later in your local forecast. In other news this evening, an Orange County man is behind bars on felony charges following a 6-hour standoff with police last night and into this morning. Indiana State Police say that at about 11:20 last night, Orange County Sheriff's deputies received a call concerning a possible domestic disturbance with shots fired in the 2600 block of West County Road 525 South near Paoli. Officers arrived at the scene at about 11:30 last night, where they discovered that 54-year-old David Coleman of Paoli had fired multiple gunshots at family members, driving them out of the house. Coleman then barricaded himself in the home and did not cooperate with officers at the scene. During the standoff, the Indiana State Police Emergency Response and Hostage Crisis Negotiation teams both sent officers to the scene to try and communicate with Coleman. Police issued search and arrest warrants for Coleman at about 3:35 this morning. Police finally convinced Coleman to step out of the home at 5:10 this morning, and he was taken into custody. Coleman was lodged in the Orange County Jail, where he is being held on preliminary charges. He is charged with a Class A felony for attempted murder and a Class C felony for criminal recklessness with a deadly weapon. The Orange County Sheriff's Department and the Paoli and French Lick Police Departments also assisted. The DuBois County Sheriff's Department needs your help to find the driver involved in a hit-and-run accident. Deputies say Adam Zare of Birdseye was westbound along Schnellville Road at 5:30 yesterday morning when he saw an eastbound vehicle that was driving left of center. Deputies say the vehicle hit the left side of Zare's car and then left the scene without stopping. Zare's car sustained about $1,000 worth of damage. Deputies are looking for a small blue pickup truck, possibly a Ford Ranger or Chevy S10. Anyone who has any information is asked to call the DuBois County Sheriff's Department at 482-3522. All callers may remain anonymous. A stricter policy on overdue materials is set to take effect at your local library. Last night, the DuBois County Contractual and Jasper Public Library Boards both approved adding small claims court as another course of action. Under the new stipulation, someone that has overdue materials and has not responded to any of the 3 written or email notices given will receive a form letter and be given another 30 days to return the materials. If there is no response to the letter or the materials are not brought back, the person would then be sued in small claims court. Library Board Attorney Bill Schoenfeld says the new element of the policy was put into place due to a total of $65,000 in outstanding fines.
I think the feeling was that the amount of unreturned materials, unpaid fines were, particularly with the Jasper Library, were becoming rather ridiculous. And whether the small claims approach will work or not will remain to be seen. But I think the feeling is that the board had to be stewards of the taxpayers' money, and it's not appropriate or fair that certain people can just take materials and not return them. So we needed to at least make some attempt to get those materials back.
Now, the changes will go into effect on January 1st of next year. However, the Library Board also decided at last night's meeting to give an amnesty period. Starting tomorrow and running through New Year's Eve, folks with overdue materials may return those materials or put them in the book drop at the Jasper, Ferdinand, DuBois, or Birdseye libraries, and the associated late fines will be waived. The waiver of fines will be in effect during the December 7th through 31st timeframe only. Fees for lost and or damaged items, as well as collection agency fees, will not be waived. Also last night, the board formally approved changes to the health insurance plan. The plan, which is for full-time library employees only, will now exist as a stipend. Both boards agreed that a 7.1% stipend would be appropriate for employees for health insurance. Schoenfeld says the change in that policy came after concerns about avoiding violations of the new Affordable Care Act. He says it also made sense financially for the library.
The budget allowed to provide each employee a stipend. That'll be a one-time arrangement unless future boards have it in the future. If in the future the board decides to initiate some form of health insurance plan, they could do that and work it into the budget. And stipends in the future can be adjusted or eliminated or modified as needed.
In final notes, the boards were informed that the Bird's Eye Library did receive a $15,000 planning grant through Indiana Region 15 that they had applied for earlier this year. The grant will be used to conduct a study that would determine if the current Bird's Eye Library, which is located in the old Town Hall building, could be expanded, or if a new library building would be necessary. The two boards also approved the salary resolution for next year. That resolution calls for a 2% increase in salaries in addition to any applicable step increases for an employee based off of years of experience. Finally this evening, Jasper-based Kimball International has announced the appointment of Kimberly Ryan to the company's board of directors. Ryan's appointment will enhance the board's strategic skill set as well as partially fill a void left by the death of board member Hank Bowman earlier this year. The formal appointment will be made at the next regularly scheduled board meeting on February the 18th. She was selected following a national search in partnership with Cook Associates Incorporated based out of Chicago. Ryan currently serves as president of Batesville Casket Company. She joined that company in 1989 as a staff accountant and has steadily progressed through a number of positions within the Hillenbrand family of companies in finance, operations, logistics, information technology, and division leadership. She has been a senior executive of the company since 2003 and has a consistent record of achieving objectives in areas like streamlining information systems and improving cost structures and waste reductions, all while maintaining market position and financial strength. Meanwhile, TDI Brands has opened a new showroom in the Gardens at America's Mart in Atlanta. The permanent showroom contains merchandising displays, examples of store layouts, and a collection of gardening accents and accessories. The space, which mainly showcases products from the Tierra Garden division, is positioned directly next to TDI Brands' established Stone Age Creations showroom. Between the two showrooms, the majority of the products offered by TDI Brands and its divisions are on display. Coming up after the break, your local forecast, sports with Kurt Gooksell, and Inform featuring Michael Cummings with Du Bois Strong. That's all up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Local people watching local people.